6 years ago, in 2020, my husband and I bought our second property in France. Same year, I started investing in the stock market. 2 investments, 6 years, and the result could not be more different. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what happened, the real numbers, so you can decide for yourself where your money actually belongs. Because most people only hear one side of this story, the agent pushing property, the finance bro pushing stocks. I'm neither. I'm just someone who did both and lived with the consequences. So let's get into it. Quick disclaimer before we go any further, I am not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Before we get into anything, I want to be really clear about what we are comparing here because this debate gets messy when people mix things up. When I say real estate, I mean buying an investment property, something you rent out, not your home, not flipping, not real estate investment trusts, a physical property you buy, hold, and try to make money from. When I say stocks, I mean a diversified portfolio, index funds, ETFs, individual companies, the kind of investing where your money is spread across dozens or even hundreds of businesses at once. Same money, two different places. Let's see what actually happens. Okay, let's start with the number everyone talks about. How much does each actually make? And let's start with real estate. People love to say property always goes up. And look, in some markets, in some periods, yes, absolutely. But here's what the data actually says over the long term. Robert Shiller, the economist who literally built the most widely used housing price index in the world, tracked US home prices all the way back to the 1890. His conclusion, real home prices, meaning after inflation, grew by about 0.7% per year. Not 7%, 0.7%. And here's what's even more interesting. When homeowners were asked to estimate the real returns, they said about 2% per year. The actual number was 0.7%. They overestimated by almost 3 times. Why? Because we remember the price going up. We forget everything we poured into it along the way. Now, stocks. The S&P 500, which is 500 of the biggest companies in the US, has returned an average of 10.4% per year over the last 100 years with dividends reinvested. Adjusted for inflation, that's 7.3% real returns. Now, real estate also has rental income and leverage. Those matter. We're going to get into all of that. But the raw appreciation number, that's what people brag about at dinner. And in isolation, it doesn't hold up. Now, here's where this gets specific to us because we are not just investors, we are expats, and that changes everything. How permanent is your situation here? Most of us came to the GCC for a salary, a lifestyle, and opportunity. Very few of us are here forever. Visa, job changes, family, life moves. With stocks, when your life changes, your portfolio doesn't care. Invest from anywhere, any currency, any visa status. When you leave the GCC, your portfolio comes with you. In your pocket, on your phone, one app, done. With real estate, when your life changes, your property stays put. Now, I want to be fair here. If you leave Dubai, you do not have to sell your property. Your ownership rights stays intact even after your visa expires. You can keep it, rent it out, manage it remotely. But here's what actually happens. Your mortgage still runs every month. Service charges still run. You need a property manager taking 8 to 12% of your rent. Your mortgage may convert to a non-resident rate, typically higher, and you're managing all of this from another country, another time zone, another currency. And it's doable. People do it, but it is not passive and it is not simple. With stocks, nothing to manage when you move. You log in, check your portfolio, go back to your life. Now, let's talk about what it costs just to get started, because this is where the two investments live in completely different worlds. For stocks, you can start with $50. Transaction fees near zero. A Vanguard S&P 500 ETF charges 0.03% per year. $3 on every 10,000 you invest per year. That's it. With real estate, it's a very different picture. In Dubai, the average apartment is around 1.9 million dirhams, roughly $500,000. Minimum 20% down payment. That's already $100,000 before anything else. But that is not your real number. On top of the down payment, Dubai land apartment fee is 4% of the purchasing price, paid upfront before you earn a single dirham. Agent commission is another 2%. Mortgage registration, legal fees, service charge, deposits. The total entry cost on a Dubai property typically adds between 10 to 15% on top of the purchase price. So on a $500,000 property, you need roughly between $150,000 to $175,000 liquid just to walk through the door. And you haven't earned a single cent yet. This is a section nobody talks about. Not the agent, not the developer, not the guy who bought in 2019 and is very proud of himself at every barbecue. Price is easy to see. The real cost kills you quietly. In 2019, my husband and I bought a property in La Rochelle in France. Excellent location, near universities, walking distance from the city center, near public transportation. It even has its own parking, which in France is a very high added value. Guess how much is the current value? It is down 9%. 6 years later, down 9%. And that is not even the real number, because that number doesn't include the mortgage interest we've paid every single month, the property taxes, the agency fees when we bought, the maintenance, the insurance. When you add all of that up, the return looks nothing like what the agent showed on a spreadsheet. Here's another way to think about it. Let's say your uncle bought a house in 1974 for $60,000 and sells it today for $350,000. Sounds incredible, right? That's actually 3.75% per year. Subtract the property taxes and insurance, about 2.75%. Subtract maintenance, maybe 1 to 2% total return. That's it. Now let's talk about real estate's other dirty secret. It is not passive income. You find tenants, screen them, chase them. Then they call at 11 p.m. comes. The AC stopped working. Can you fix the toilet? Maintenance emergency the day you are supposed to be on holiday. 2 months vacancy and you are still paying the mortgage. I was speaking to a woman recently. She has 2 rentals, one in Dubai and one in Bahrain. The war with Iran happened and the breeze hit the flat in Bahrain and insurance won't cover it. The Dubai one is sitting empty. One crisis that hit both properties and nothing else in her portfolio to absorb the shock. That is concentration risk in action. When you own one property and nothing else, that is your portfolio. Everything you have, one place, one location, one market. If something goes wrong, you have no buffer. With stocks, no one calls you at 11 p.m. because the AC is broken. If one company struggles, you have many others that are going to keep the whole investment portfolio afloat. Okay, now let's talk about risk, because this is where most people get it completely backwards. When people say stocks are risky and property is safe, here's what they mean. The stock market is visible. It drops, you see it in red in your phone. Immediately, like every day, that volatility is real. With real estate, the number doesn't change on your screen every day. It feels calmer and safer. And honestly, for some people, that psychological distance is genuinely valuable. If you know yourself and you know you would panic sell in a crash, real estate might actually protect you from yourself. That's a real advantage. I'm not dismissing it. But real estate has its own risks. They are just invisible until they hit. We already talked about concentration. We talked about the costs, but there is one more: illiquidity. If you see another investment opportunities, you can sell some stocks for a profit, and within 24 hours, your cash is in your bank account. With property, your money is locked down. And it's not only that the transaction could take several months, it's that you can't sell just a wall. You sell the whole thing. In a down market, you might not even find a buyer at the price you need. The comfort of not seeing daily price changes cuts both ways. Real estate doesn't make you panic, but it also doesn't let you out when you need to leave. If this is making you think differently about money, hit the like button and subscribe. I post every week about investing, financial freedom, and making your money work for you. And drop a comment, property or stocks? Or have you had a property nightmare story? I want to know. Okay, the question you came here for. Which one wins? Real estate and stocks are different asset classes and they can totally complement each other. What will help you succeed is learning the right strategies. Educating yourself first is always the first step. If you jump on any investment without learning how it works, what metrics to look at, how to determine if it's a good investment, then you are not investing, you are gambling. And most people inherit beliefs and never question them. Your parents told you property is safe. Your culture told you the stock market is gambling. Nobody proved it. You just assumed it as a truth. If you're about to make your first investment, which one makes more sense? Real estate can make sense. If you have significant capital, realistically between $150,000 to $200,000 minimum just to get started. Or if you plan to stay in one place long term, if you understand you are taking on a second job or you can pay someone to manage it. Or if you want the golden visa route and you have 2 million dirhams. Stocks make more sense if you are starting with moderate savings. If you are an expat who might move. If you want global diversification from your phone, if you want your money working while you sleep, not while you are chasing a maintenance company. Here's what I know from 6 years of doing this. My stock portfolio is up an average of 20.5% per year through the Russia-Ukraine war that started in 2022, through the crash due to the tariffs, through every market correction. My French property down 9% 6 years in. And before all the costs. Most people never see the real numbers, and real estate agents usually won't show you this. That's the risk when the person guiding your investment decisions gets paid when you buy, but you deserve to know. And maybe that's where you are right now. You are not looking for hype, you are looking for clarity. You want to understand how investing actually works, how to avoid expensive mistakes, and how to start with confidence. If that's you, I run a live event called Ready, Set, Invest Bootcamp. It's an online 3-hour event where I walk you through exactly how the stock market works, how to calculate your financial freedom number, and how to make your very first investment step by step. Hands-on, super practical, no jargon, no guessing. You also get a private WhatsApp community and weekly live support from one of our coaches. The link is in the description. I would love to see you there. If you found this helpful, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who wants to start investing globally. I'll see you in the next video.